Wow, loving that song, This Means War. And it's perfect for this show. I'm your host, Coach Tina Lane. This is the Village Drum. And October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And I have two phenomenal women in the studio who's going to talk about their journey. One's going to talk about her organization. I'm just so happy to have them here because I am a domestic violence advocate. And I love to talk about what's going on, especially with survivors or people who may still be struggling with this. But we're going to give you some information. We're going to give you some feedback, their personal story. And we're going to encourage people today. So I have Miss Kakila Hunter. Hi, Kakila.
Hi, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. And I have Shan Barclift.
Hi, Tina.
Hi. So, Kakila is the CEO of this organization called The Dressing Room. She has a beautiful shirt on, the purple. If you don't know, the color for Domestic Violence Awareness Month is purple.
Yes.
So, we have this on, and I have my button.
Yeah.
Anyway, so tell me about the Dressing Room.
Well, the Dressing Room is a 501c3 nonprofit organization where we give women workshops to help them along the way, whether it's resume writing, interviewing skills. We also give them financial literacy, and after the workshops we also provide them with clothing, because sometimes when you're in that situation you're not worrying about yourself, you're worrying about whether you have children, the situation you're in, and some gain weight, some lose weight, and when you're going to try to get back into the workforce you need the clothes. And sometimes you don't have the finances at that time. So that's when the dressing room also steps in and provide the women with clothing and accessories. That takes a big load off of people.
That is true. Because a lot of time women who are transitioning back, like they're transitioning back, they now are survivors. And they will need those accessories that you're naming, those things, because sometimes women may leave with only the clothes on their back.
Exactly.
Shan, she's the producer of I Ain't That Chick.
Yes. Yes.
And that is a talk show that you can catch online, as well as what television station is on now?
We're on Choice TV, and also we're on Comcast in certain parts of California.
That's right. Now, Nate, I'm going to call her Nate, but it's for Shan. Nate was on our other show where I was talking to women about being in business, and she just had this powerful story, and it fit in with our show on domestic violence. So tell me, and tell the viewers, how did I Ain't That Chick get started?
Okay, I'll tell you. And first I want to say, I Ain't That Chick is a movement, and it's a ministry, and it's about self-empowerment, self-awareness, and self-respect for young girls and women of all ages and ethnicities. And it encourages women to, respect me because I respect myself. But, I used to live in LA for 14 years by myself. I didn't have family there. And, I'm a gorgeous young woman like the two of us.
Say it.
And yet I'm a gorgeous young woman, like we all are. And, I'm serving God, and, I was lonely, and Lord, I wanted my husband. I wanted a Christian man. I wanted somebody invested in me, and there was no one. And so, I'm going to church every Sunday and Wednesdays and doing whatever, and there's no man, pursuing me. And so, I say loneliness can make you do some unfortunate things. There happened to be a man in my midst, and I didn't really like him, definitely didn't love him, and wasn't interested, but I was lonely. I wanted to go out. I wanted somebody saying, Nate, you look beautiful, and Nate, you look nice. And he began to put all these demands on me and tell me all the things I needed to do to be his woman. Like I needed to sleep with him, I needed to cook for him, I needed to give him a key, I need to have groceries there. And my response was always, I ain't that chick, because I knew who I was and whose I was, but I was lonely, so I was settling. And that's that word that we always say, don't settle. And so, I entertained and I spent time. I never hugged him, never kissed him, never held his hand, but I was settling. So one day I'm in the mirror putting on some makeup, getting ready to go out, and I'm a Christian. I heard the Holy Spirit say, Nate, if you don't give it to him, he's going to take it from you. I had to put my makeup back, I had to put my Mac away, and I said, okay, you know what, no, not today. And so some time had gone by, some weeks had gone by, and I let my guard down. So I allowed him to come over one day, and I can see that day as clear as if it were today. It was light outside, my shades were up, and I thought I was safe. I allowed him to come over, and in the blink, he tells me in the blink of an eye, I want you to, do some things. And he knocked me up off of my couch. He tore my cargo pants off. I didn't have, he tore my underwear off. I was embarrassed. I was naked and ashamed. And I'm on the floor, backing up on my elbows, scared because he's trying to force himself in every crevice he could. And so I have my hands covering myself, and there's a floor-length mirror on the back wall, and I'm backing up on my elbows, and all I could say was Jesus, because I didn't know what else to say, and that is the most important thing that you can say. And so I'm backing up on my elbows and praying I didn't bust my head didn't smash through the mirror. And you know, sometimes, ladies, a man can go to a place where he totally loses sight of you, and this man had lost sight of me. He's 6'5", I'm 5'2.5" on a good day, and he just stopped and he said, I don't have to do this to you. And then I heard, you know, God tell me to just be still, because had I gone sister girl and snapped my neck and did all this, he probably would have snapped my neck, and you know what, nobody would have known. I didn't have an address for him. I didn't know where he lived. Nobody knew he was at my place. And so he began to fix himself up and still saying, you know, I want to come and see you, but I just heard, get him to the door, get him to the door. And so when he got to that door, I tell you, I put my back up against that door and I just shrunk to the floor. And you know, he stalked me for a while after that, and there were times where I know some women unfortunately know this. I wouldn't go outside after dark because I had a carport and I had to go through the back to get to my car. I wouldn't go outside late at night, or I would not go different places without one of my girlfriends, or making sure I called somebody to let somebody know, because I just didn't know when he was going to show up. I'd be out sometimes and he would be watching me from afar, you know. So that is how I Ain't That Chick came to be. I just knew that if I had a story, then other women had a story, and I believe that every woman has a story. So I began to interview women about their stories of empowerment, because I believe a lot of times we think it's just us going through something, and it's not us. And I thank you so much for doing this show, because when women begin to share, that's when we begin to empower one another. And that's what I Ain't That Chick is about: self-empowerment, self-awareness, and self-respect. And I stress self because it lies within. Sometimes it falls dormant and we just need to reawaken it.
That is true. Thank you for sharing that story.
Thank you.
It's powerful. And you're the woman you are. Like today, you're stronger and you're empowering more women today, just telling that story and even having that show, I Ain't That Chick. Thank you so much for that story. I didn't know everything about you, but it's amazing. You can know people, but you don't know their journey. Like, and one of the things that I know about Kakila, when you were going through, a lot of people didn't know your journey.
Not at all.
Share with us. Well, first, let's share what is domestic violence.
Well, domestic violence, a lot of people think domestic violence is just physical, and it's not. It is the control of your spouse or your intimate partner. It could be physical, it could be emotional, it could be mental, it could be sexual. That's all a part of domestic violence. But a lot of people see it as physical, but it's just not physical. It can be a combination of all of them.
Do you believe that people believe women are being abused if you tell them? Do you get some people say, oh no, it's okay, go back. He just hit you that one time. He was upset. He was tired. He had a long day.
I believe that some people just don't want to deal with it, or some people don't know how to deal with it. And that's why we're trying to create awareness around it. A lot of people, if they don't see the scars, they don't believe it. And that's exactly what happened to me. I was never hit, but emotionally and mental abuse, oh, that's a serious thing.
And that's where I was getting to, because some people don't realize that it's not always physical. And we also know that abuse is not just with women. Men are abused as well, so I want to make sure I say that. Abuse doesn't have, a person who are a victim, doesn't matter your race, your religion, or your gender.
It doesn't discriminate at all.
It does not discriminate at all. So we need to be aware of that, because sometimes we hear people may say, oh, well, it won't happen to me because of my economic status. You know, it won't happen to me because of my physique, my build. You know, that's never going to happen. No, it won't happen to me. You just don't know. You don't know. So it doesn't discriminate. So with your story, you didn't have the scars.
I didn't have
physically on the outside, but people didn't know the scars you were receiving from him, verbal and emotional abuse. That was the inside scars. A lot of time women are walking around and you don't know what they're going through, but on the outside we look good. We can clean it up. We talk about wearing the mask.
We wear that mask.
We wear that mask.
Exactly. So, and we wear it good.
We wear it real good. So sister, talk about the mask that you was wearing that people didn't see.
Just like Shay, right? Nate. Yeah. I'm sorry. Just like Nate, going to church, a deacon's daughter, a mother's daughter. So therefore, to a certain degree, you had to make sure that everything was kept kosher. You didn't want it to be known what was going on in your house, because a lot of times people say what's done in their house stays in your house. But the embarrassment, the shame. I was a very, very, very independent woman. And I did love him. I really did. I didn't know all of the background, and that's another thing. Get to know the background of the family and him. So I loved him, but as time began to go, years passed, I was broken down.
Wow.
And it wasn't so subtle. And that was the thing. A lot of people say, well, didn't you see it? Didn't you know what was happening? No, because I was being broken down a little bit by a little bit. It was to the fact where, oh, why don't you wear this? Oh, my husband likes this, so I'm going to keep wearing this. Oh, sweetheart, why don't you wear your hair like this?
Wow.
I'll pay for it.
Subtle.
So you're thinking, oh, my man pays for my clothes, my man pays for my hair. I'm good to go. But when you don't wear those certain clothes, and you don't wear that certain hairstyle, it's just something, and to others it may seem very simple, but it's something that can be a great pressure point.
Right.
Because when you don't wear, you get that silent treatment. You get to the point where things are said to you like, if you don't wear a certain thing, oh, you look fat. Oh, you look this. It's just demeaning, and after a while, it becomes a control thing. Because now you're trying to do everything to please that partner. Now, I believe in respecting your partner. I believe in being submissive.
Right.
But at this point of what was happening, that was not the same thing. And to say that you love me, that kind of love, you don't want that. You don't want that type of love. So it was a consistent, subtle thing.
Right.
And I say consistent because a lot of people say, oh, you didn't see it, like I said. No, I didn't see it coming. Because like I told you, I was very independent. I was the only child. My dad loves me.
Right.
You know, so I had that love. I knew what a love from a man was supposed to be.
Right. So you don't come from the story that some people may think, oh, well, maybe she must have had a broken home or dysfunctional. Again,
I had a 2-family household.
No discrimination.
There's no discrimination, none at all. And being broken down to the point where whatever was said to me, I believed.
Okay.
I believed. Whatever was said to me, I believed. So therefore, it's that control factor. And that's why when you said you saw the video, but that's why I tell the women, it all depends on how you think, your frame of mind.
Right.
You have to start getting in the right frame of mind to take care of yourself. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
That frame of mind that you have, it's so strong. Because if you believe in what your partner is saying,
right,
versus how you really are, your self-worth is down.
That is true.
Your self-esteem is so down to the point where I was going to work looking like a hobbit.
Wow.
Because of what I perceive what that person thought about me.
Well, that can happen because now whatever that person is saying to you, you're starting to believe it.
Yeah.
So now that's again manipulation.
Exactly.
So now he's controlling even your mind, you know. So it's so much going on. Like if he says that I'm too small, I may stop eating because I feel as though I'm too small. If he say I'm too big, I'm saying if he say I'm too small,
yeah.
If he say I'm too small, then I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? If he say I'm too big, I want to lose weight now, you know, whatever, because of you trying to please him. It's no longer about pleasing yourself.
Exactly.
He has total control over you. Total control over your mind, your thoughts, your action, your next steps. And that's what most abusers want to do.
Exactly.
They want to have total control over you.
Like you said, manipulation.
And again, I want to emphasize, I'm going to be using the term the man being the abuser, but I always want to, because these are the women's story here. But again, I want to say men are abused, and there's help out there for men as well.
Yes.
Nate, after that happened to you, what was the next step you did as far as wanting to go out in the dating world? Because that was traumatic. So how did you get over what happened to you? Like, did you share it with others?
Well, you know, that's the thing. You know, a lot of people will say, why didn't you put a restraining order against him? Why didn't you go to the police?
Okay.
In my mind, and had the situation not happened to me, I would have said, you know, to somebody else, I would have said, why didn't you get a restraining order?
Okay.
But in my mind, I thought I was saving my own life. I did not want to bring attention to him or the situation. I didn't want to attract him more. I didn't want him to stalk me anymore. And it probably doesn't make sense, but that was very much my mindset. I was afraid.
Okay.
And I was afraid. And so no, I didn't want to date anybody. I didn't want to, no. I wouldn't even go out the house when it was dark. And that's not me on a normal day. But I was scared. I would be in my apartment sometimes just looking at TV, and then I would hear a voice come through the window. And it was one day I was coming out of the shower. It was nighttime and the curtains were drawn, but I heard a voice in the tell, you better open this door. I froze. And I remember staying in a spot for more than an hour. I wouldn't move because I didn't know where it was coming from. And I didn't know if a door was going to be kicked in. I didn't know if a window would be open. And I remember just staying there. And he said, I can see you. I can see you. And I didn't know how he was seeing me. And I was scared to death. Scared to death. You know, so no, I didn't want to date anybody. I didn't trust anybody. No.
I believe it because, again, you were the trauma. And sometimes we don't even talk about post-traumatic trauma that happens to people. Did I say that right? PTSD. Okay. What happens to women who are in a situation when they are abused.
Right.
And sometimes it could be a sound, something, a noise, and you're wondering why she's jumping. But that sound triggers something back to what has happened. And so how do you begin? We talked about what happened. How do you begin to fight back to get your life back?
Well, with me,
yes,
it was a change in my mindset.
Okay.
One night I was driving because I was so frustrated with everything that was going on. And back then my children were little. We had 2 little girls. And I just got in the car one night and I just started driving. And I was driving down the parkway and something said, just end your life right here.
Wow.
Just turn the car and go over the bridge. It was nothing but God. Nothing but God that kept me that day in the right frame of mind for a split second, because I was really contemplating suicide, just to end everything. But I kept riding, and I rode all the way down to exit 105. So if you're in Jersey, you know the parkway down to 105. And was at that exit, I decided, no more. I'm done. This is it. My life has got to change.
Wow.
And I turned around, and it just, most people say I do a 360. Well, that day I did a 180 because I wasn't going back to where I started. So it was that day I did that 180, and I came home, and little bit by little bit I started getting myself back. It was just something small. Take yourself out to the movies.
Okay.
You deserve that. Go get the ice cream you want.
That's right.
Without anybody saying you should not eat that. It was just things that I enjoyed before. I started doing them again, whether it was reading a book in the park. I did that.
Wow.
So it was little bit by little bit, and then seeing my girls see me go through that, that was another thing that triggered. I said, I don't want them to grow up thinking that this is the norm.
And you said your children, and we didn't talk about that because she is a mother.
Right.
And children, when they see abuse, with your children, and you didn't want them to continue to see that, so one of the things you want to do is also you want to save them for this.
Yes.
And so with your children, how did it impact them at the beginning when they saw the abuse? Was he ever abusive towards them, or
very
verbally?
well hidden?
Okay.
Very well hidden, to the fact that at that point in time, if I was to say such and such was doing this, they'd be like, you're lying.
Wow.
Because it wasn't done
Right.
where everyone can see. My girls saw, but they were small. Until when they grew up a little bit, he would say little things in front of them. But I didn't think they paid attention until my oldest, she's now in college, she said, I don't need him. And the way she sees men now, I see how it affected her.
Okay.
I didn't realize it then, but now she's at the age of dating and wanting, maybe, wanting to get into a relationship or something. I see how she responds to the young men, to the point where I say, you know what, sweetie, let's sit down. Let's have a talk. No, I did not tell her everything.
Right.
But I told her the important points of what a man should be to you, what a man should not do to you, what is love,
right? What
should you accept from a man?
What is a healthy relationship?
Yes.
What is an unhealthy relationship?
Yes.
And by doing that, we also I'm going to jump back into the dressing room in a second. I'm going to come back to you because I know those are some of the things you're going to be going over with the women there. Right. Nate, so your next step, you got over the hump. Like you said, and so when you started dating again, what happened? Like, how did you feel?
I was defensive a lot. You know, if somebody raised their voice or if they put their hands up too high, I would jump, and then I would lash out. Or if somebody, sometimes guys like to, play tussle. I can't do all of that because it takes me back. And even talking about this now takes me back. Okay. And it's not so much the event and date that happened, but it's the fear that I lived in, and you relive all of that. But when I finally left California, and I remember leaving December 12th, 2012, and I remember going to the airport LAX saying, you know what, I do not have to look over my shoulder anymore. Wow. And it was such a breath of fresh air. But even with I Ain't That Chick, that is a statement that I give to women, and it's self-empowerment. And so I'd have to remind myself to tell you ain't that chick. And so I say I ain't that chick that you can mistreat or that you can talk down to or that you can keep on the side. And I ain't that chick that's gonna hate on you when it's your season to prosper. I ain't that chick that's gonna go behind your back and deal with your husband and wreck your relationship. It's a personal thing, and it's however you decide to apply it to your life, but it strengthens you. So I believe if you say it, then you believe it, and if you believe it, you become it.
That's right.
And so I had to go back. I had to take baby steps and begin to tell myself that. And I had to go out at night by myself again and learn. And it was a little bit of a, but I had to go out because you're constantly looking. I'm in New Jersey now, but I'm still looking. I'm still looking. It's your mindset. So I had to say, I ain't that chick. I had to say it before I could tell anybody else to say it.
I ain't that chick.
I ain't that chick.
That's your motto, and you live in it.
I live it. I live it. I ain't that chick. I live it. Wow. And I encourage other women, if you're struggling with something, use it. Say it. Say it until you believe it. Exactly. If you got to say it 10 times a day, empower yourself with it until you can walk that out. I ain't that chick.
I ain't that chick.
You ain't that chick.
You ain't that
chick. I ain't that chick.
Real quick, so because I want to know what time is wrapping up with the dressing room, and we know we got I ain't that chick. I love it. You ain't that chick. The dressing room. So much you all are doing. One of the things that I know that's happening soon.
We having a painting with purpose.
Yes.
It's one of our fundraisers that we use for people to come out, socialize, and still also learn about the dressing room. All the profits will go towards the dressing room and helping the women.
Okay. And your website?
The website is www.thedressingroom.org. If you cannot come to the painting with the purpose, by all means, go on the website and donate. We do also have our wonderful t-shirts that we are selling. You can contact us or view us on our Facebook page, The Dressing Room, New Jersey. So we have several ways that you can get to us.
And one of the things I talked about earlier on the show, we had Women in Business. We were talking about marketing. So that's great. And you have IAinTThatChick.com where people can find and locate you.
Yes.
Okay. One of the things I love about Kakila, she did something, and I briefly, like almost in our closing, I want you to talk about what inspired you, or just tell people what it is to get rid of your death warrant. Like, can you do it like in 2 minutes, like a quick summary?
Well, I did a video, and it's called Getting Rid of Your Death Warrant. We all gonna die one of these days, but why die at the hands of domestic violence? Why? Amen. You have to learn how to change your mindset, and that will help you to get rid of that death warrant. Because when you change your mindset, you learn to live, live life, live abundantly, live for yourself and live for your children. So when you change that mindset, you're changing your death warrant. And when you change that mindset, you don't have a death warrant anymore. Because now you're living on purpose.
That's right.
And you're not living looking like that.
That's right.
You're living looking ahead.
All right.
I ain't that chick.
Yes. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. That's Kakila Hunter, everybody. On the dressing room. That's right. Get rid of your death warrant.
Yes.
Come on. I ain't that chick. I want you to, like 1 minute, to say something to inspire the women real quick.
I would just have to say, you ain't that chick. Don't stay stuck wherever you are. And as women, a lot of times we think it's just us, but no, it's not. And as women share, as we're empowered and we empower you, if we can get up and do something to change our lives, so can you. Don't stay quiet. Don't stay stuck.
Ooh,
that's it.
Don't stay quiet. Don't stay stuck.
No.
Listen, everyone. We have Valerie Merritt, which is the PR person. She's in the studio right now. Cheering on Kakila Hunter. She's a PR person, and she's awesome as well. Don't stay quiet.
No,
don't stay stuck.
And live while you're alive.
Don't stay silent. Don't stay silent.
Exactly. Don't stay silent. And I want to say to someone today, If you're in that situation, there are contact numbers. You can go online, the National Domestic Violence Hotline number. You can go to different organizations. Love is not abuse. Say something. Don't stay silent. That's important. Don't stay silent. Get in contact with someone. There's help out there for you. There's shelters out there for you. There's a system out there to help you. But sometimes you may feel as though you're alone.
You're not alone.
But you're not alone. You may feel as though you're the only person going through this because you're the person experiencing it. But there's so many other women, like these two ladies right here, they are survivors of this. So they're telling their story just to empower others. And I want to say to family members, if you know someone, take a stand this month. Domestic violence is just isn't October. It's all 365 days. So your mission is to take a stand. Be a part of something. If you know someone that's being hurt, say something, because a lot of times family members stay silent as well. And friends and co-workers, say something. For this month, stand up, take a stand. That's your mission from Coach Tina. Thank you both, Kakila Hunter, Shan, Barclift. Thank you so much for being here.
The opportunity.
This is a powerful story. This is a powerful month, Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and it takes brave women to come. So I can't think of the word right now because I'm so emotionally but I commend you. That's what I want to say. I commend you both for coming because sharing your stories, sharing what you're doing for others means a lot to me. It's going to mean a lot to all the viewers. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Got a little emotion.
This means war. This means war. This means war.